Morning, guys. Today is April 22nd, and this is your instructional video on our math lesson 9-10. We are going to learn how to do subtracting with mixed numbers. But before we do that, you're going to take a quiz on forms. Then we will review the slides. You will complete the solve and share on slide number 6. You will watch the learning videos, the visual learning links that are in this slide, and I'm going to show you how to get to the visual learning videos on Envisions as well. You will complete slide number 10. When slide number 10 is done, you will log into the buddy practice on 9-10 Envisions, complete that, and then you will come back and turn this PowerPoint in so I'm able to see your completed slides. Okay, so today's lesson is 9-10, subtracting mixed numbers, and we are on day 7 of our phase 2 remote learning. All right, so you'll click this link here and it will take you to the quiz. So I'm going to go ahead and actually copy it. And if I post it, I paste it into a new browser, it takes you right to forms. Okay. Now, if this doesn't work, I am going to have this shared and posted for you in your email. So please make sure it's also going to be posted on the main page. So please make sure that you look for that link to fill this out. Okay. See, it says, "Hi, Christine," when you submit the form, and you scroll through, select your answers, and hit submit at the end. Okay, so as long as you're logged into Teams and Microsoft Teams or Microsoft Office, if you click the link, it should be logged in as you. All right, so go ahead and take that quick quiz. It's on 9-6 and 9-9. Try to do it independently. Don't ask for help, because that helps me understand what you guys still don't understand, so I can help you with your lessons. All right, so after that, we're going to review and go on. Okay, so I can use equivalent fractions and properties of operations to subtract numbers with like denominators. That means I can use equivalent fractions or equal fractions to apply the rules about the operation subtraction. All right, and here's that lovely anchor chart that we've been looking at so many times. What is a mixed number? And don't forget, a mixed number is a combination of a whole number and a proper fraction together. And you can always click this YouTube link right here, and that will bring you to what is a mixed number anchor chart. All right, so it says watch this video. So go ahead and watch that video. It's important to watch the videos within all of the PowerPoints. Okay, so here's our solve and share of today. I'm actually going to play this. It says Evan is walking 2 1/8 miles to his aunt's house. I know that the line is missing between the fractions, so you can see that it's 1/8 down here on the number line. He already walked 6/8 miles. How much further does Evan have to go? Solve the problem any way you choose. Well, let's think about it. I have 2 wholes plus 1 extra 1/8. But I have to take away 6/8 because that's how far I've already gone. How do I do that? Because 1/8 is smaller than 6/8. How do I do that? I can change one of the wholes into 8/8 because 1 whole does equal 8/8 in this case, because my fraction that I'm dealing with is divided into eighths. So now I have 1 9/8. It's kind of like borrowing, right? When you have 14 as your bottom number, and then you have 23 as your top number, and well, 3 is less than 4. I have to borrow. I have to take a 10 from the 2 because it's really 20, and I have to borrow. So it's kind of the same situation. So those 2 hints, go ahead and solve that on your own. Let me know what answer you come up with, and there'll be a text box for you to put your answer and your work in. Okay, so if you click on this link here, this takes you to the visual learning video.
How can you subtract mixed numbers?
You can use what you know about adding mixed numbers.
A golf ball measures about 1 4/6 inches across the center. What is the difference between the distances across the centers of a tennis ball and a golf ball?
So now I'm going to pause it right there. The key word for that was difference. Okay, when we hear that word difference, we know that we need to do subtraction, right? Because those are our key vocabulary words. We have to remember what words help us identify what operation we have to do. So they said, what is the difference between the tennis ball and the golf ball? So the word difference means that I have to subtract.
You can use properties of operations and the relationship between addition and subtraction to help subtract mixed numbers. What do you know? A golf ball measures 1 4/6 inches across the center, and a tennis ball measures 2 3/6 inches. What do you need to find?
Well, what do you need to find?
You need to find the difference between these lengths. Find 2 3/6 minus 1 4/6 by subtracting mixed numbers. To subtract 4/6 from 3/6, rename 2 3/6. Why do you need to rename 2 3/6 before you subtract?
What does that mean, rename? Well, that's kind of renaming is like regrouping, right? I have to take that 2 and I need to change it to a 1 6/6, and I have to do 1 6/6 plus the 3/6 left over. So now I have 1 9/6.
You need to rename 2 3/6 before subtracting because 3/6 is less than 4/6. 2 3/6 equals 2 plus 3/6. Remember, 1 is equal to 6/6. So 2 plus 3/6 equals 1 plus 6/6 plus 3/6. And since 6/6 plus 3/6 equals 9/6, 1 plus 6/6 plus 3/6 equals 1 9/6. Now you have enough sixths to subtract 4/6. 2 3/6 minus 1 4/6 equals 1 9/6 minus 1 4/6. And that equals 5/6. Is the answer 5/6 reasonable?
Does that sound reasonable if you subtract? Right? We don't have some crazy improper fraction as our result, so it sounds pretty reasonable to me. Now remember, improper fractions are the same as a mixed number, so really what just happened was I made a mixed number, but I also have an improper fraction because I took one of those wholes and I switched it back into fraction form.
Select your answer.
So is it reasonable? I'd say it's reasonable, so let's click reasonable.
Yes, 5/6 is reasonable because 2 3/6 minus 1 4/6 is about 2 1/2 minus 1 1/2, which equals 1. Since 5/6 is close to 1, it is reasonable.
Okay.
The tennis ball is 5/6 inch wider than the golf ball. Find 2 and 3/6 minus 1 and 4/6 by subtracting equivalent fractions. 2 and 3/6 equals 2 plus 3/6. Since 6/6 is the same as 1, 2 is the same as 12/6. 12/6 plus 3/6 equals 15/6. 1 and 4/6 equals 1 plus 4/6, which equals 6/6 plus 4/6, which equals 10/6.
So I'm going to pause right now just so I can help you guys understand that. So really what they did was to find this 15/6 over here, they did 2 times 6, which is 12. 12 plus this extra 3 up here gave me 15. So you multiply this big number on the outside, your whole, times the denominator. So 2 times 6 gives you 12, and then you add the extra parts. So really also what they did was 6/6 plus 6/6 plus 3/6. So it's that repeated addition. A quick shortcut is multiplying the large whole number on the outside times the denominator, then adding the top at for the extra pieces. So the same thing down here. So 1 times 6 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. Okay, and that's how you get that changing mixed numbers to improper fractions. And we'll learn a little bit more about that tomorrow.
15/6 minus 10/6 equals 5/6. You can count up to check your work. 1 and 4/6 plus 2/6 equals 2, and 2 plus 3/6 equals 2 and 3/6. 2/6 plus 3/6 equals 5/6. When counting up to check your answer, why do you add 2/6 plus 3/6?
Well, why do we do that? Where did they get 2/6 from and 3/6 from? How do we do that?
First, you add 2/6 to 1 and 4/6 to get 2. Then you add another 3/6. You add 2/6 and 3/6 to see how much you added in all.
So really what they did was they have this 1 and 4/6, and they said, how do I get to another whole? So they added the extra parts, and that's what that 2/6 is. So 1 and 4/6 plus the 2/6, which is the extra parts, got me to the number 2 for the whole. And now I have 2 wholes up here. So then how did I get from 2 to 3/6? Well, I added the extra 3/6, and then I added the pieces together that I had. So 2/6 plus 3/6 equals 5/6. Okay, and that's it for that video. So let's go ahead and we're going to check this one out really quick together. After this short ad. Okay, here we go.
Starting to subtract mixed numbers. I'm making 2 videos on this topic because there's 2 ways we subtract mixed numbers. In this video, I'm going to show you how we do easier subtraction problems, like the ones your teacher may give you after this video.
That's me.
The method for today is similar to how we add mixed numbers. We do the fractions part first, and we do the whole numbers separately. To work on any mixed number subtraction, we always need a common denominator, like we very conveniently have here.
That means the same
We start
denominator
with the
for
fractions
both.
part. You know the denominator in the answer, it's 10. Now we work with the numerators. 9 minus 2 is 7, 7/10. We can save a bit of space on the page. If you give yourself plenty of room right here, you can complete the math on a single line. Next, we do the whole number parts. We've got 5 minus 3. That's 2. We can fit it in right here. Our answer is 2 7/10. We're all done. I didn't squash any of it up. It's all on a single line. Cool. Now let's do one with different denominators.
I'm going to pause it right there. I don't want to confuse anybody, so do not watch past the part where we just added. Okay, so only watch until 1 minute and 28 seconds. All right, so we're going to go back to our PowerPoint, and now we're going to try it. Okay, so here we have 3 3/8 minus 2 1/8. So you can see that we brought down the denominator first to subtract the fraction. So 3/8 minus 1/8, and we get 2/8 left over. Then we subtract our whole numbers. So 3 minus 2 equals 1. So our answer is 1 2/8, and then which also equals 1 1/4 because they reduce the fraction down to the simplest form. Okay. I'm not going to take points off if you don't do that, but just make sure that you do the math correctly. So let's go ahead and check and see how to do this. So I have letter A. I have 5 4/6 minus 4 2/6. And I have 2/6 left over because I brought the 6 down. I subtracted 4 minus 2. Now I have to subtract the whole numbers. 5 minus 4 gives me 1. Next one, 6 3/4 minus 1 1/4. Well, the common denominator is 4. And then I would subtract 3 minus 1, and that gives me 2/4. 6 minus 1 gives me 5. So my answer is 5 2/4. Next, I have 9 5/10 minus 5 3/10. So 10 is a common denominator. So 5 minus 3 would give me 2. So I have 2/10 left over. 9 minus 5 gives me 4. 8 6/8 minus 6 4/8. Again, we have 8 as our common denominator. 6 minus 4 is 2. So I have 2/8, and then I have 8 minus 6, which also gives me 2. So my answer is 2 2/8. 3 4/9 minus 1 1/9. 9 is my common denominator. 4 minus 1 gives me 3/9 or 3/9, and then 3 minus 1 gives me 2. All right. So now what happens when the top fraction is smaller than the bottom fraction? What do I do? So I have to think to myself, all right, well, the whole is divided into 3 parts. Okay, and you can see that in the picture here. 1, 2, 3. And then I have 1 extra piece left over. All right, so I have 6 wholes and 1/3 of it left. Now I have to take away 4 2/3. So I have to say to myself, all right, well, I need to change this, and I have to go like this, and I have to make this a 5, and then I have to add 3/3. So now my fraction became 5 4/3. So 4/3 minus 2/3 gives me 2/3 left over. 5 minus 4 gives me 1. So now you can come down here and you can double check. Well, 6 minus 4, I'm going to take away 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But now I have to take away 2/3. So that's 2 out of one whole. So I have 1 whole plus 1 part plus 1 part, and that gives me 1 2 parts over 3. All right, you guys are going to go ahead and try it. You're going to complete numbers 3 through 8. You will click in the box and turn this in. When you're done, complete buddy practice 9-10, and let me show you how to get to that really quick. All right. So you're going to log in to the math curriculum page through the Voorhees site. You will click Envisions. And Anthony has been so kind enough to let us log into his to walk us through. All right, you'll click My Work, and here you have all of your assignments. You actually need to scroll through, and you are looking for the assignment called 9-10 Buddy Practice, Independent Practice. Click the Get Started button, and it'll launch it for you. Now, you can also watch the visual learning video. I click that arrow at the bottom, and it says Subtract Mixed Numbers Visual Learning. So if the link doesn't work for you, you can come into your assignments, and it is actually assigned. And you can see that Adding Mixed Numbers Visual Learning video is here as well. Okay, so if you have any questions or you're not sure what to do, write to me on our Teams page. I will take you to that now. All right, click here. Click New Conversation so I know. And you can see here I wrote to some people what you're missing to log in and check that I know it activity. And also scroll up here, and some of you are missing your quick check. So please check for your name. Get those things done now that you know how to navigate through. And if you have any questions, you can comment and I will get back to you. Have a great day.